When I told my daughter to leave the house, I did not raise my voice. I did not shout. I did not cry in front of her. I stood near the doorway, holding my keys in my hand, and I said the words as calmly as I could. "You are 18 now. You can go." She looked at me like she did not understand the language anymore. Her eyes were wide, confused, and then slowly filled with tears. For a moment, neither of us spoke. The house was very quiet. Too quiet for a home that once echoed with her laughter. I remember forcing a small smile, the kind people wear when they are trying not to break. Inside, my chest felt tight. But I believed I was doing the right thing. I told myself I was teaching her responsibility. I told myself she needed to learn life the hard way. I told myself she would thank me one day. She packed her bag that same evening. Not much went inside. A few clothes. Her old phone charger. A picture of her as a child that she slipped into her pocket when she thought I wasn't looking. When she reached the door, she stopped. She turned back and said softly, "Mom, I don't know where I'm going." I swallowed and looked away. "You'll figure it out," I said. The door closed behind her with a gentle sound. No slam. No drama. But the silence that followed stayed with me for years. At that time, I thought silence meant strength. I thought distance meant discipline. I did not know that silence can grow into regret, and distance can turn into a wall so high that even love struggles to climb over it. I did not know that one day, I would be the one standing at a door, begging for forgiveness. I became a mother when I was young. Too young, some people said. But when I held my daughter for the first time, none of that mattered. She was small and warm, and she wrapped her tiny fingers around mine like she already trusted me with her whole life. I promised her, right there in the hospital room, that I would do everything right. Life, however, does not follow promises the way we hope. Her father left when she was 6. No big fight. No loud goodbye. He just slowly stopped coming home. After that, it was just the two of us. Me working long hours. Her waiting for me at home, sometimes with dinner already cold. I tried my best. I really did. But I was tired all the time. I believed strict rules were the same as love. I believed if I controlled her choices, I could protect her from mistakes I had made myself. As she grew older, we grew apart without noticing. She became quieter. More secretive. Not because she was bad, but because she was growing. At school, teachers told me she was smart. Creative. Sensitive. At home, I saw someone who questioned me. Who pushed back. Who wanted freedom. I didn't know how to handle that. By the time she turned 17, we argued almost every day. Not big fights. Small ones that piled up. About her clothes. Her friends. Her phone. She wanted to study art. I wanted her to choose something safe. One evening, she said, "Mom, you don't trust me." That sentence stayed with me, but I pushed it away. I told myself I was just being a good parent. Then came her 18th birthday. I baked a small cake. I hugged her. But something had already shifted. She was legally an adult now. And I felt afraid. Afraid of losing control. Afraid of watching her make choices I could not fix. A week later, we had an argument over something small. I don't even remember what it was now. I only remember saying words I thought would scare her into listening. "If you don't like my rules," I said, "you can leave." I did not expect her to call my bluff. She looked at me, her face pale, and said, "Do you really mean that?" And instead of stopping myself, instead of hugging her, instead of choosing love, I said yes. That was the moment everything changed. The days after she left felt strangely empty. At first, I told myself it was peaceful. No arguments. No tension. Her room stayed exactly the same. Her bed neatly made. Her books still on the shelf. I did not go inside for weeks. I expected her to call. To apologize. To ask to come back. She did not. I heard from a neighbor that she was staying with a friend. Then later, with another friend. I told myself she was fine. Young people are strong, I thought. But at night, when the house was dark, doubts crept in. Was she eating properly? Was she safe? I almost called her many times. My fingers hovered over the phone. But pride stopped me. Fear stopped me. Months passed. I started telling people my daughter had moved out. It sounded better that way. On her 19th birthday, I sent a short message. Happy birthday. Hope you're well. She replied hours later. Thank you. Nothing more. That one word hurt more than any argument ever had. Over time, the silence became normal. Too normal. I missed her in quiet ways. When I saw her favorite cereal at the store. When I found one of her old hair ties in the bathroom drawer. I told myself she would come back when she was ready. But years went by. I heard she struggled. Worked small jobs. Shared apartments. Once, someone told me she cried a lot back then. That she felt unwanted. When I heard that, my chest tightened. But I still did nothing. Because facing her meant facing my mistake. And I wasn't ready. The turning point did not come with drama. It came quietly, like most truths do. One afternoon, I found an old box while cleaning. Inside were her childhood drawings. Stick figures holding hands. A house with a smiling sun above it. On one drawing, she had written, "Me and Mom forever." I sat on the floor and cried for the first time in years. I finally allowed myself to ask a painful question. What if I was wrong? Not just a little wrong. But deeply wrong. That night, I searched her name online. I found a small art page. Her art was beautiful. Soft. Full of emotion. She had become exactly who she wanted to be. Without me. That realization hurt, but it also humbled me. I wrote her a message. Deleted it. Wrote another. Deleted that too. Finally, I sent one simple line. Can we talk sometime? Days passed with no reply. I prepared myself for rejection. Then, one evening, my phone buzzed. Okay. We agreed to meet at a small cafe. When I saw her walk in, I almost didn't recognize her. She looked older. Stronger. But there was still my little girl in her eyes. We sat across from each other in silence. I wanted to explain myself. To justify my actions. But instead, I took a deep breath and said, I was wrong. Her eyes filled with tears immediately. I should never have sent you away, I said. I was afraid, not disappointed. And I let that fear hurt you. She looked down at the table. I needed you back then, she whispered. Those words broke something inside me. I told her everything. How I thought I was teaching her strength. How I confused control with love. I told her I missed her every day. When I finished, she was quiet for a long time. Then she said, I don't hate you. But it took me years to stop hating myself. That sentence will stay with me forever. I reached across the table. Not to force a hug. Just to be close. I am so sorry, I said. Please forgive me. She didn't answer right away. Forgiveness is not instant. It takes time. But she nodded slowly. I'm trying, she said. And that was enough to begin. Rebuilding a relationship is not like flipping a switch. It is slow. Fragile. We started with small things. Coffee once a month. Short messages. I listened more than I spoke. For the first time, I truly listened. She told me about the nights she cried alone. About feeling abandoned. I did not interrupt. I did not defend myself. I let her pain exist. Over time, trust returned in pieces. She visited the house again. Her old room looked smaller now. I thought I'd never come back here, she said softly. I told her she was always welcome. Not as a rule, but as love. I learned that parenting does not end at 18. It changes. And sometimes, the bravest thing a parent can do is admit they were wrong. Today, my daughter and I are close again. Not perfect, but honest. Sometimes we sit together in silence, and it feels warm instead of painful. If you are listening to this and holding on to pride, I ask you to pause. If you have pushed someone away thinking it was for their own good, look again. Love should not have conditions that break a heart. I thought I was teaching my daughter how to survive. But she taught me something far more important. That love, when withheld, becomes a wound. And love, when given freely, can heal even the deepest scars. If I could go back, I would choose her over fear. Every time. And if you still have the chance to choose love today, please do. Before the door closes quietly, and the silence lasts for years.